Okay, this is just a quick way to check the valve clearance when you're putting heads together. This is in particular is a Harley, but it's the same process for just about anything else. Checking valve to valve to make sure they're not going to hit. Okay, since I don't have the tool for it, this is a quick way just using the dial caliper. So you put your valves all the way up, measure them. I've already measured it. So you're going to measure the stem protrusion, which is just from the top of the valve to the spring surface. We'll give you the stem protrusion. We're at 1.990. So you're going to write that down. I've already written it down. We're at 1980. So there's a 10,000ths difference between these two. We don't really care about this for what we're doing right now. But in your motor log, you'd want to write that down. So you know that. So now you need to find the top dead center lift on your cam card, which for these particular cams is a 216 top dead center lift on the intake and a 189 top dead center on the exhaust. So all you're going to do is you're going to subtract 216 from the stem protrusion, and you're going to open that valve up that much, which in our case was to 1.774. All that means is the valve's actually opening 216 thousandths at top dead when the piston's top dead center. And then our exhaust was open 1.791. Now they make a tool for this. I don't have one anymore, but I used to have one. And it's gotten rather expensive. And all it does is you actually put a couple of cheater springs in there with the retainers, so you can then open it up and move it. But okay, that one's opens 189 thousandths. And let me grab the camera so you can see this. So all you're looking at is the area between the two valves, how much room you got. So they're not going to touch each other. If you can see the space in between the two valves there, that's what you're just trying to keep the valves from kissing each other at high RPM. So the more room you have, the better. Now, some cams you'll play hell because you'll put them in there and the valves will be so close together that you know they're going to hit. Well, the truth is, I've run them as low as 60 thousandths clearance between the two. Preferably, you'd have at least 80, but I have run them closer. And typically, what you do on these, if you don't have enough room, instead of going through the hassle of sinking the valves or anything, I usually take and grind the exhaust valve down a little bit and move the seat down on the valve some. You can even bevel the outside edge of the exhaust valve to give, depending on how close it is, to give it a little more room. Very important, this step right here. And you want 80 thousandths. So if you take a couple of feeler gauges and stick in there, another way to do it is not this way, but with the tool, or the way we used to do it a long time ago, is you fish a piece of solder through the spark plug hole when you got everything together, and hold it in between the valves while somebody's rotating the motor over. So and then you pull, it'll mash the solder, and then you can actually measure the solder to see how much room you got. It's a lot easier to do it this way because you can actually see how close they are. But that's it. You just measure your stem protrusion and open the valves, how much ever they need, whatever your TDC lift is. Now these are bolt-in cams, so they do fit. They got plenty of clearance in there, probably over 100 thousandths. I have over 80 thousandths between the two of them. But it's just something to check when you're doing it. The other thing, and I don't have anything I'm putting together right now that I need to check valve to piston clearance on, but valve to piston clearance, very, very simple. Put a little clay or solder in the valve pockets, put the valves in there, preferably using a solid lifter, so you're not going to get any bleed down from a hydraulic, so you can tell exactly how much valve to piston you got. And again, there too, typical rule of thumb, you want over 80 thousandths between the two, especially on the exhaust side, because what happens is that the piston's coming up, the intake valve's already closing, so it's, not intake valve's usually in what hit, it's usually the exhaust valve. Piston's coming up while the exhaust valve's opening, so they're actually moving towards each other. You're more likely to smack an exhaust valve than you are an intake, regardless. So, just something to check. Thought I'd throw that out there. Somebody might could use the information. Anyway, we're heading out to Rockingham tomorrow to Thunder at the Rock for the drag races to go and watch. Big event down there. They're having all kinds of events. It's a big ride down there, and stunt show and drag races and whatever, bike shows probably, and whatever else they're doing. But if you're not doing anything tomorrow or Sunday, it's a good time. It's cheap entertainment. And you're helping out the drag racetrack. Very important to support those racetracks before they all disappear. All right, thanks guys. Everybody have a great weekend. Be careful out there.